Development throughout the town of Oakville is governed by our zoning bylaws formulated for planning documents such as the Regional Official Plan, the Livable Oakville Plan, and here in Bronte, the Bronte Village Growth Review. But overall planning starts at the provincial level. And with the provincial elections less than 3 weeks away, we have invited all 5 MPP candidates for our riding to Bronte. We want to hear their opinions regarding housing, transparency in the legislative process, and their thoughts on our community. Hello, my name is Terry Shea, and I'm on the board of the BVRA. And I have the pleasure of speaking to those 4 candidates who have agreed to be interviewed. I'm here with Maeve McNaugton. Welcome to Bronte, and thank you for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me today.
Let's start with the transparency in the legislative process. With all planning direction originating from the province, how would you champion grassroots engagement for more transparency in the legislative process, ensuring a community like ours is heard when developing future plans?
Yeah, well, I strongly believe, so as the NDP, that municipal councils are the level of government that's most connected to the needs and concerns of residents, especially in such a small, close-knit community like Bronte. And over the past 4 years, the relationship between municipalities in Queen's Park has been torn apart. Doug Ford has abused his powers and disregarded municipal decisions. He has abused his power in ignoring local bylaws to secure development contracts for his friends. The NDP feels very strongly we need to work to rebuild that relationship with municipalities and local governments. We need to establish a better framework to govern that relationship that's constitutionally protected. We plan to rework the Ontario Land Tribunal to restrict appeals and limit appeals against municipal decisions. We also plan to end the abuse of MZOs and revoke MZOs that are harmful to public interest.
Thank you. Speaking of land tribunals, how do you ensure that the voices of not just seniors but of the elderly are heard in that process?
Well, I think that the provincial government, municipal government really needs to focus, especially in communities like Oakville and Bronte, on more public participation and taking public participation into much heavier consideration when it comes to potentially harmful development.
So let's now turn specifically to housing. How do you balance the need for new development, including affordable housing, and still protect our stable neighborhoods?
Well, affordable housing is an issue that myself and most people I know are too familiar with. Every day in Ontario, the prices of homes are becoming more and more inaccessible and unaffordable. The prices of down payments are skyrocketing to hardly justifiable prices. And the affordable homes are being bought up by investors and house flippers who take a potentially affordable home and leave it vacant for months while they perform needless renovations and sell it at a hiked up price afterwards. So in one fell swoop, they're taking a potentially affordable home, making it vacant, and then also making said market less accessible to first-time home buyers or low-income home buyers. So changes need to be made as far as affordable housing and making housing more accessible.
Thank you. And green space. Is there ever a need to take green space for housing?
That's really difficult. I think that's an issue that needs to be made. Decisions need to be made with heavy consultation with public interest, public consideration, and municipal consideration. The NDP is very interested in placing more trust and autonomy in the decisions of municipalities, and I think municipalities and residents need to be heavily consulted when it comes to sacrificing green space for development.
And finally, what aspect of your platform would most benefit the community of Bronte and Ward 1 in general?
Well, I think what I've been hearing from a lot of residents in Bronte and Ward 1 has been a general consensus of feeling ignored, feeling like their needs and their concerns aren't being properly advocated for on a municipal or provincial level. They feel like there's a lack of transparency and communication between residents and local communities and provincial government and municipal government. And I think a big emphasis for my campaign and the NDP's platform is getting rid of some of that gray area and increasing communication between communities and between governments and putting some trust back in your politicians. We really want to put an emphasis on considering public needs and bringing public participation back into big decisions, such as developing on historical sites and on green spaces, because public opinion is what really matters there, because this is the people it's going to affect the most.
Well, thank you. And thank you for your time, and we wish you well.
Thank you very much for having me.